you looked at something objective, right? The scale doesn't lie. You know in your head how tall you went. You know how much you've weighed throughout your life and how you felt at different weights. And for one reason or another, probably you had some thought that, you know what, I've eaten too much. Maybe I should cut back a little bit. Maybe, and so you stepped on the scale. And if it's anything like what happened to me at one point in my life, you were like, oh, wow. Like, I've never thought of myself this way. Like, I've never thought of myself as being in this kind of condition. And you look in the mirror and you're like, I don't look that good. Like, this is not who I ever wanted to be, right? And so now you have a reason to change your habits, right? To develop, or in this case, to develop new habits, which is awesome. I mean, that's how it worked for me, because I was the same way. I was, we call it you said a low grade. I think you said a low grade alcohol.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an actual term, but it's kind of.
No,
I get it.
Yeah, there was a point in my life, I had a jiu-jitsu injury, like torn ACL, and so I didn't go back. I wasn't active. I sort of dropped jiu-jitsu. I just, was like, I don't want to get hurt. And it was, some other things in my life where I just didn't feel great about where I was. And so, yeah, I started out, having a couple of light beers every night. And I'd always had, and sometimes a drink socially. And I was, a beer drinker, right? So never hard alcohol, just beer drinker, and particularly light beer in it. And then, this Pilsner Cal, this really tastes good. This is actually better, more satisfying. So let me switch, have a couple of Pilsner Cals now, And so all of a sudden, I start out 2 or 3, and then all of a sudden I'm like, it's close to 6 packs, a 6-pack a day. Like, and that's high calorie, and that's a lot of alcohol. And yeah, it wasn't every day, but like a fair number of nights. And, it wasn't good. And I thought of myself like, when your doctor asks you like, oh, how many drinks do you have? And you lie, you're like, oh, maybe, 10 or so. And doctor's like, oh, well, you should try to cut that down. That's too much. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, shit, he really knew how much I would like that.
Everybody downplays that, right?
Yeah. Slowly, I didn't make this change the same way you made the change. You were just like, hey, I'm going to cut this out, or I'm not going to cut it out. I am going to dramatically reduce this. Mine, I went back, I saw a trainer. I started beating myself up, realizing, wow, I am way out of shape. Like I can't believe I let myself get out this far out of shape. And then started talking to him about, this is what I do. And he's like, well, why don't you start cutting back on this? Why don't you try to drink a little bit less, because if you drink a little bit less, maybe you're going to pass on that ice cream you have late at night too. And so that's how I did it. I went back to light beer, then I went back to less, and then I cut out the ice cream. So, different things work for different people. But I am so glad to hear that this is working for you, and you've made such a positive change in your lifestyle.
Yeah, it feels great. I honestly, it's one of those things. It's like trying to explain to someone about a wave you caught that doesn't surf. They're like, oh yeah, that sounds exciting. It's like, no, you don't understand. There's so much more to it. But yeah, no, it's great. Rewind it back during COVID, during the first, in 2020, I got hammered by anxiety and just having a really tough time sleeping. We were locked at home. I mean, wow, I was locked at home on Maui, I guess, Crimea River. But, when your lifestyle gets altered, it doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to be affected however you do. And I went through the gamut with anxiety and really having a lot of trouble sleeping. And so I talked to a couple of therapists, and then I ended up really connecting with a life coach who wasn't even a licensed therapist. And she was like, how many cups of coffee do you drink a day? I'm like, probably 2 to 4. And she's like, okay. She's like, how much alcohol do you drink? And I was like, I told her. She's like, well, my suggestion immediately is to stop all of that and just cut it out. And I was like, I don't want to. Like, really?
Is there another alternative?
Yeah, that sounds extreme.
That's plan B.
Yeah, right.
It was about 5 weeks of this, and it sucked. I was kind of going through this emotional hell. But I stopped drinking coffee. However, I have 1 cup of caffeinated coffee every morning, but that's it now. So from just drinking, like in the afternoon, like a cup of coffee sounds great. That's just out of the question. And then the drinking part, I didn't cut out till later, right? I slowed it down for the sake of her requests, but during that period where I was going through just whatever it was, the coffee was a big factor as well. So I really hit the brakes on the caffeine, and like I don't typically drink soda or any other type of caffeine during the day, and that was another game changer in my life as far as me being a healthier person and just functioning at a level where I was very comfortable. The coffee part I put away in 2020, where I just have 1 cup of caffeinated a day, and then the drinking obviously took a little longer before I X'd it out or narrowed it down tremendously. So, but the caffeine too was a big one. I didn't realize it, and it's not like I needed the caffeine. I just love the taste of coffee. The conditioning of it, just smelling it perks you up and all that fun stuff. But that was another one too, where I was like, okay, I had to, everything as you get older, right? Moderation. That's balance. Life, the key to life is balance. And I was offset big time. So, sometimes you got to learn the hard way in order to really have it change your lifestyle. So it was at that point, I was like, okay, this helped. And I'm okay with having a cup of coffee in the morning. I don't need more than that. So that was super helpful too.
Yeah, I'm actually a big coffee person, so I'm right there with you. A couple of years ago, I decided to try to completely change my eating habits. I went plant-based for many different reasons, and one of them was to see if I would help, with my energy levels in the afternoon, because I was drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee get over that midday hump, right around 2 or 3 o'clock, and it was a game changer for me. Every now and then, I will still have a cup of coffee, but I no longer do it every day. I might do it 1 or 2 days out of the week. So it's definitely gotten a lot better for me. So I could definitely relate to that, as it means changing certain things in your life to address vices that you have that maybe somebody's recognized that could change your life. So that's good stuff.